Good morning. We're here.
I thought you were talking specifically to me. Good morning.
We're doing it. How's it?
Good.
How's it going, buddy?
So I don't know what the sunlight situation is early over. I have a different camera angle than Twitch does. So I can see at your window, and it is quite bright. Um,
Yeah, that's also
it's
the fault of my light up here too.
it's it's very dark here when I wake up.
Yeah, it's definitely not like all the way sunny yet here, but it's definitely, it's not dark anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess like an hour ago when I wake up, it's still pretty dark.
Yeah, I'm still sort of rousing myself currently. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how much earlier you get up before we start.
Well, I don't know. I ended up officially waking up at like 7:30 today.
Damn.
Yeah, made coffee and got things set up so we would be good to go. Um, well, let's jump right into the most important topic of the day. How was sleeping on the floor?
Even though my bed is still directly in frame, I did sleep on the floor. Okay. I mean, I think the issue that I have more than anything is just sort of keeping my back straight, like on the
Yes,
ground.
absolutely.
I mean, you seem well rested.
Um, that's because I'm really functional on very little sleep. um, I went to sleep that way. I got out of bed because I was beginning to rewatch BoJack Horseman again for the thousandth time. Um,
Right.
so I was doing that in bed, and I was like, "All right, it's time to go to bed." So I got out of bed and onto the floor, and I was able to fall asleep. But then I woke up at some point on my side with just the right side of my body in pain and
No.
asleep, and managed to lay back down on my back, and I think I went to sleep again. Um, but eventually I woke up at some point in time and wasn't immediately ready to just pass back out, and I was like, all right, we're moving up. We're we're moving back to the bed.
I don't blame you. No, I didn't actually think you. What if I was just like, you slept on the floor, you idiot, you stupid bastard.
I'd
Uh,
respect it. I'd respect it.
no, I did okay, but also I'm quite convinced I could just sleep on a literal trash can made of fire and be okay. Not to say that I'm a heavy sleeper, just that I've slept in some really garbage locations and survived. Yeah, so I today will be sort of dismantling the bed and then replacing it with the sleeping mat.
Hell yeah.
For onto the floor we go. I
Yeah.
also if you can see the room is coming along. I know it
Yeah,
seems
you've
messy from
rearranged
camera
since
angles.
yesterday a lot.
This is
Your
a
shirt strapped to a canvas isn't there anymore.
no, now we have a bookshelf and then a wine rack, two more floating shelves,
Damn,
some
been
sound
busy.
panels. Yeah, you can't see it, but I also have a really large acoustic sound panel. I wonder if I rotate the camera if it yeah, that guy.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. That thing is huge.
Oh, yeah, that thing's a big boy.
It
That's
hello.
impressive.
Yeah, I'm excited to put that thing up. So um I'm trying to think what to get into immediately. I feel like I don't have the vigor I had yesterday morning, which is wild considering I slept
You don't
a
have
solid
a you don't have a pre-prepared list of topics to spring on me this time?
No, which is strange because I did actually get more sleep and have more prep time, comparatively. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that
Um,
tracks.
I was gonna say, if I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what my challenge is gonna be.
See, my prep time was making overlays and alerts and stuff. So
Oh yeah,
I didn't write anything down. Um, but I did think about a few things. But if you wanna, well, if we want to jump into challenges, uh, yesterday you mentioned the Midnight Gospel,
yeah.
which I love, and there is I guess it's a meditation technique that is explained in that show that is I
Okay.
think is really fucking amazing. Um, especially if you enjoy it's really reminiscent to me of like a body high, like on like if you're smoking weed.
Yeah.
Um, it's the I guess like the last episode where he's talking to his mom. She like guides him through like a little meditation thing where you
Hmm.
basically try to feel the inside of all of your limbs, like just by like presence, basically. Like, can you feel the palm of your hand just like right now?
Yeah. I mean, no, but yeah,
You
I
yeah, you
understand
just
the
have to kind of
concept of how
focus
that
on
can
it, yeah.
become
And then
meditative.
you just do that up your arm, your other arm, both your legs, and it's the feeling of like when you're fucking high as balls on the couch and you don't really like you kind of feel floaty, like you're not really like super attached to your body and you're just kind of your head, like you don't really feel that
Uh huh.
like I don't know. It's really cool. So yeah,
Hmm.
go try that.
Does that have a like actual term for that type of meditation?
I have literally no idea. I've only ever heard of it from like that episode, um, when it was explained, and I was just like sitting there, like I was like just doing it in my head, and I was like, oh, this is fucking sweet.
I am looking it up right now.
Because I've never found
Uh,
meditation to be very effective for me or helpful, in like the traditional senses.
is it the
Um,
one where is it the episode where Clancy has the wizard beard?
I don't. It's the last episode. I think he might have a wizard beard in that episode. It's the one where he's going through like the cycle of life and death with his mom while his mom's talking about what it's like to be dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Um, which is like also the best episode of the show, by the way. If you haven't seen it, um, the show's just
Yeah.
incredible all the way
God, this
through.
episode is really good.
But yeah, if you don't like cry your eyes out at that episode, you're not human. It's-
It's a very it's a very good show.
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the exact name of it seems relatively popular.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, and I had no idea what the name was because she didn't say what it was in the episode. But I was like, man, this is fucking sweet.
So here's an interesting one. I went to look up Midnight Gospel and here are some questions.
Yeah.
Obviously the really good one is Midnight Gospel real interviews? Yes, it is, which is cool.
One of the coolest concepts of a show.
Did Duncan Trussell inherit $1 billion? What?
What's the answer?
I don't know. The fact that
Oh,
someone okay, a few years ago, I inherited $1 billion from my grandfather. Being a white billionaire during the Trump presidency has been difficult. Yeah, I think he's joking, guys.
I hope so. I
Guys,
sure
I
hope
think
so.
that's a joke. And then there's a part 3 to the tweet that says more soon.
Morrissey. Absolutely incredible.
I like this tweet. It implies that he's trying to figure out if he can buy gift cards with his $1 billion. Yeah, no.
I mean, technically speaking.
Oh my god. Um, yeah. So I will figure out the name of that.
Yeah, let me know because I'm curious. I've just messed around with it, but I don't really know like where it comes from or anything about it.
Yeah, I'll try that tomorrow. I don't know if is it like a before bed meditation or
Really, whenever you don't have to like super be in a position of like I don't know, like a meditative state. You just kind of can do it. I don't know, just like be sitting down. Like you can be like watching something while you're doing it. Like you don't need to be like shutting out the world while you're doing it because it requires so much focus while you're getting there that um like it just kind of like you just kind of sink into it and you can just yeah, it's cool.
one of the questions here is it okay to meditate at midnight? Which
No, absolutely not. Under
it
no
seems
circumstances.
hilarious.
You will die.
The idea, it's like, here's the thing, you can meditate, but if you meditate at midnight, your third eye will
It's Gremlin rules, man.
will merge into the ethereal substrate of the universe and open a black hole from within your goddamn brain.
Don't meditate after midnight. Don't eat
Don't meditate
food.
after don't
Don't get
meditate
wet.
after midnight. Those are my 3 rules. Well, 4 rules. Don't eat food, don't get wet, don't meditate after midnight, and don't just never be horny.
I respect it. I respect it.
These these are the tenets of which we live by.
That is truly the path to enlightenment.
The moment you shed your your horny skin, like you'll be reborn
I
like
have
a wet noodle snake.
I have replaced my desire for carnal lust with arguing with boomers on Facebook.
Oh yeah. I mean,
It's basically the same thing.
I mean, except for you're never gonna get anywhere satisfying, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe you do.
Oh, trust me, I do.
Oh, I get satisfied in this
I
conversation.
get very satisfied.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy for you.
I'm telling you, it is actually better than sex.
I could believe that. It's also the hour of like, what coffee mug have I stolen from my roommates this morning, which is apparently this one.
Same, yeah. This one's here. My
I technically only own 1 coffee cup, and it leaks. So
I think I own 2. I don't know. And one of them's my Bernie Sanders coffee mug, which I'm not breaking out until after the election. I ain't trying to drive no Bernie or Busters. Y'all are fucking dumb.
Oh, I don't want to. That shit is wild. My God. I have a couple mutuals on Twitter that are of that mindset, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, like I understand, and I've been in that kind of position before because there's a really complex moral question between like voting for what you support and only what you support, and when is the right time to choose the lesser of two evils.
No.
And like personally right now I feel like you are morally obligated to vote against Trump regardless. Unless like literally like Hitler comes back and runs against Trump, like you're morally obligated to vote against Trump pretty much against anyone. Like that's my current position, and I don't like Biden.
Yeah, no, I don't like Biden at all.
He was like my
pretty
fourth choice out
cool
of the primaries.
See him tell Trump to shut up, though. That was good stuff.
Absolutely.
Or what was that line where he's like, you wouldn't know, like,
you wouldn't
like
know a suburb unless you made a wrong turn.
I was like, God damn, dude, it was so off the cuff. I was like, all right, Joe.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So today, it's gonna be get rid of this bed, so
Okay.
there potentially won't be a bed in frame tomorrow morning. and
Hell yeah.
replace it with the sleeping mat. I want to get some. You can't see where I'm pointing my mouse cursor, but right here, this wall. I want to get a little desk.
Mm.
I might build a desk. I don't know, and do a garden there.
Ooh, okay. Got some grow lights and stuff.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. Do you want me to ask my roommate for recommendations for you?
I mean,
Can
yeah,
ask her
but I'm
what she's
probably gonna
got.
end up getting what's cheapest. But well,
I doubt she got. I don't think they're expensive by any means. What she has, like they're
yeah.
probably like $20 a grow lights or something like that. Nothing like insane.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
she's not like me when it comes to buying things.
God, that was the deepest of yawns.
I respect it. I feel it.
Yeah. So do you have to actually go into work today?
No, but I have a system to immediately remote into after we're done this show.
Cursed.
Yeah, but that's fine. Gotta
Yeah,
do work sometimes, you know.
it is what it is. I'm trying to think because I had yesterday was kind of instantly I knew what sort of challenge I wanted
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, you were like, hey, I'm suffering. Welcome to the club.
Today, not as much. I was gonna see if there was a good book to read, but
Just read a book by tomorrow.
just read a book by tomorrow.
I've done it. Yeah, go read No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai by tomorrow. I've done that overnight before.
What is the title of that book again?
No Longer Human. It's my favorite book in the world, and it is what this whole ass sleeve is based off of.
Oh, what? So give me the inside cover pitch.
Depression. um, it's basically about a dude growing up in post World War One, I believe pre World War Two, Japan, who's like the son of a like government person, who and just going through the struggle of basically not feeling like a part of society. But it deals a lot with like social isolation while not really being isolated, and like just horrific depression and like horrible relationships and just like his struggles of life for 200 pages.
Interesting.
Yeah, there is some light.
So when was it written?
Around that time.
Oh wow!
And the author immediately committed suicide after publishing the book. And it's
That's heavy.
Yeah, it is not technically an autobiography, but the events of the main character mirror the author's life.
Or just sort of inspired of.
Yeah, it's basically an autobiography, except it's a fictional story, technically speaking.
Interesting.
But yeah, there's some light 20s, 30s Japan misogyny in it, but it's not super prevalent. There's just like some offhanded remarks about his views on women, and it's like, I mean, no, but it's okay.
You say that as though societally
they've progressed at all
in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that from here, I don't think we're sitting on our high horse by any means.
Yeah. So there's like some light mentions of that. Nothing like he's not terrible to women by any means.
So it's not like reading anything by like the Nick Adams story by Hemingway or anything by Mark Twain.
No. There's a couple sections where he's talking about like relationships and how he views women, and there'll be like just some the kind of shit you see like your 19-year-old person that you like kind of grew up with that still lives in their little small town in Pennsylvania and went through a bad breakup. So he's like, man, girls do bad shit and are bad from time to time.
My God. I mean, that's entirely fair.
Yeah, and he has like some rough, like trigger warning, suicide trigger warning, sexual assault trigger warning, like all the bad shit that can happen to someone.
Yikes.
But it's
Yeah.
beautiful book. Like, there's just some
What's
incredible
the name of
quotes in
that
it.
book? I'm gonna drop it in chat.
No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. It's only like it's like 200 pages ish. I loaned it to my roommate before we were even roommates, and I like got the book out the night before to bring to her. And I literally like opened it, looked at the first page, and was like, ah, well, I'm gonna read all of this tonight real quick.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'll check that out. I don't know if that'll be tonight because I don't know if I can get the book that quickly, but also that seems like something I don't really want to consume in an audiobook format. It kind of seems like it was meant to be
No,
read,
and
not
yeah,
read
it's an
to
easy
you.
read despite the subject matter. It's a very easy read. Goes by quick.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. So it's about to be a incredibly busy week.
Yeah,
Yeah. When are we doing Scene again?
sounded like Friday. I don't know. I think that's what, or yeah, that's what was being said in the chat. I'm pretty
Friday
sure.
is.
I can't look right now because I am screen capping Discord for you.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to link my website. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
so Xenokin is going to be an actual play podcast, which, if you don't know what that means, it is a podcast where people play a role playing game, like a tabletop role playing game. Generally live, not live. But for you, and then post it. So we're playing the System Quest, which is going to be a lot of fun. And here is the link to that. My website will also update, and I think this might be where I do the RSS feed for it. So
Hell yeah. It's gonna
besides that, you'll be able to catch it anywhere else, like Spotify and whatnot.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. I haven't played tabletop RPG
It's been like a year
since
for you, right?
might be more than that.
Crazy.
The last time might have been that campaign where I was Michael's wife.
Oh my god, when we were playing Harnmaster.
Yeah.
The fact that I got anyone to play Harnmaster is a
Well, you got me out of pure ignorance because I'll just say yes. You're just like, hey, do you want to play a thing that's terrible? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's
oh my
go.
god. Yeah, so Harnmaster is a D1. It's a percentile dice system, which basically means it uses a D100. It is known for being exceptionally gratuitous with the realism and mechanization of every possible mechanic. You know what? Actually, I think your challenge is you're gonna have to play Genshin Impact
What the fuck
and
is
tell me
that?
what you think of it. I
What is
don't
that?
really know.
What
So
does that mean?
it was built to me as being uh a game that is meant is basically someone was like, it's an open world waifu collector and has a husbando collector. You can collect all of the genders. uh Christ.
About to
Yeah.
play a fucking weeb game? Is that what you're making me do?
Yeah, well,
God,
yeah,
how
it
dare
is a
you?
weeb game.
Fucking weebs. We
uh
don't take kindly to weebs in the show.
Yikes. Yeah, it looks cute. I mean, the graphics look nice. The character customization seems cool. I don't really think I'm gonna play it, but I guess I guess if you are, then you should do it. I might pick it up just so I can nab uh, so I can write a quick review. I don't know. Let's see what it's all about.
Steam open. Why are you having so much
Hey, so here's the
difficulty?
thing. It's a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
You can get it via the website, though, not Steam.
Oh. Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here, Steam. Why was I opening you?
Yeah, Gabe Newell said no.
That's fair and reasonable.
They knocked on his bedroom door, and Gabe Newell climbed out of his vat that they keep him in and said no.
Oh man.
It's just like a very I imagine the Steam headquarters to be like a very David Lynch Dune situation where they're all just fucking nasty weirdo Harkonnen boys and vats and stuff. Fucking like we must make our 30%.
Remember when
or
Valve
whatever
was
they take.
Remember when Valve was like a good company?
They're still a good company if
If
being
you
a
count
good company
not doing
means
anything as a good company.
taking everyone's money.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with like taking a cut, like whatever. Especially now that like things like the Epic Store exist, which I mean, as much as fuck their practices of like exclusiving games to try to force people onto their platform, by just throwing Fortnite money around, like it's good that there's a platform that takes like half what Steam takes if devs want to go there.
Yeah, I use. God, am I going to pronounce this right? Honestly, more and more, the more games I can get off of itch. Is it itch.io or itch.io? I don't know how
Something like
it's
that, yeah. Um,
because they're a little bit more decent with what creators get compared to Steam.
Yeah, like I'm glad that there is competition for the sake of developers to get more money. I hate the business practices, specifically of Epic, because they're just like, all right, you can be anywhere but Steam, and here's money. It's like okay, like
Yeah, that's
if
not
that's
great.
really what all right, it's just annoying. I don't feel
That's
like
not.
opening 3 different launchers because they're exclusive to 3 different launchers, but like no.
That's not the absolute best it could be.
Yeah, so I don't really have a problem with Valve doing that. I just have a problem with them. I mean, they came out with the Half-Life VR game, but other than that, they haven't done shit since Dota 2.
It's good.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like when Valve actually makes a game, they do a great job in it. It's just Dota 2 came out in like 2011, and that's like the last thing they did other than fucking hiring Richard Garfield to port over a poorly made card game that immediately died.
Mm-hmm. Well, an interesting thing about them as a company, despite technically still being one of the bigger companies in the industry for just like the amount of volume of stuff that they handle with their website,
The amount of money that they fucking make.
it's very small.
Yeah, it's like 200 people.
Yeah, it's a very small company.
And they're amazing to work for, but they're like the textbook of like, here are the benefits of this kind of work environment, and here are the flaws of this kind of work environment. Everyone's really fucking happy. Nothing gets done. Like, have you ever needed to contact? You ever needed to contact Steam support for anything?
No.
It's like a month turnaround time.
That tracks.
Like it is unacceptably bad.
I 100% believe that.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why everything they can do is automated. Like that's why they have an automated refund system, because they just can't. They just can't fucking handle it. Well, so one of my favorite Valve stories is there was a Team Fortress 2 update that came out. It's been years now because Valve and supporting their games, little W. But it was like one of the last big TF2 updates. They came out with a map that was originally supposed to launch with the game over 10 years beforehand. And the reason that the map got completed was because at some point during this update's development, the developer that was making the map rolled their desk back into the TF2 office to finish the map because he just stopped working on it over 10 years ago.
Oh.
and never finished it. And he decided like now's the time and just rolled his desk back into the TF2 office, finished the map that he was working on like over 10 years ago.
Sounds like that, like, yeah. Sounds like me when I'm off my meds for ADHD, and
Yeah.
it's like all of a sudden I'm like, now we're gonna do it. Now
Yeah.
that it is too late.
Which is like it's a
Uh,
really cool story, but you just have things like not getting done for 10 years.
yeah. Oof. That's a big one. Uh, yeah, there's actually been some cool games that are out that I want to play, which is wild because there hasn't been anything I wanted to play in a very long time. I spent kind of years playing Mount and Blade,
Yeah.
the first and second, the first game
There's
or
a
whatever.
really new one, right? That came out like this year.
Yeah, so here's the thing about that. They've been working on that game for an eternity.
Mhm.
And that, which is fantastic because they were doing the whole like we release it when it's done,
Yeah.
not when, which is good. Release your video games when they're done. Well, unless you're doing early access. I'm actually a big supporter of early access games, but
Early access is fine as long as you're not doing like the classic uh, survival crafting open world MMO game that inevitably gets abandoned after 3 years after you spend 10 minutes trying to update it and call it a day.
yeah,
Daisy. H1Z1.
God. Yeah, there's like 100 million clone lights of those games now.
Rust,
God, what,
7 Days
what
to
was I?
Die,
What was I
miscreated.
talking about?
You were talking
No,
about
7 Days to Die is okay.
It's the same thing, but yeah. Rust
Yeah,
is pretty
pretty
good
much.
too, but
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Man, where was I getting?
Games you Mountain Blade, the new one.
Yeah, I just didn't care. By the time it came out, I had actually lost all interest, which is wild. I'd been excited for it for so long, and then
So,
it
quick
released, and
aside, what is that game? Because when it came out and everyone was playing it, I couldn't like. I was trying to look at what the gameplay was, and it looks like there's so many different types of gameplay in it that I couldn't get a grasp on what you even do in the game and like what happens.
it is a game that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
Because being a spread so thin with the various amounts of gameplay that you have, none of them are good.
yeah. Well, because
You're
it
kind of
looked.
on this big board map moving around, and you start with one person, and you could join either a king as a soldier, or you hire a few peasants and start your own little mercenary band, and then inevitably you get murdered and taken as a prisoner, and then it's just like kind of like a squad building game with politics
Hmm.
and such.
Does it have multiplayer? Because I couldn't tell if it had like a chivalry esque multiplayer situation going on.
So it does, but here's the thing. The multiplayer
Okay.
is specifically for running quick matches of combat, not for the actual game. Because
Right.
combat is
Right.
just one part of the game, and combat
Yeah.
in the game is bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It is just bad.
Yeah,
I
because
would say if you want that sort of
I couldn't
experience,
tell
you should
whether
play
we were talking
Mortal.
about like a Mordhau chivalry situation or like a
Mordhau has fun
civilization
combat.
situation or like I couldn't fucking tell when I was just trying to watch people play the game.
I used to play Mordhau ranked like
That tracks.
every day for a couple hours. I was just running out Mordhau ranked, which is wild for me because I don't typically play video games for that extent of time.
Except
But
Rising Storm.
not in a long time. That was a very good game though.
So those are good times.
Rising Storm is my second favorite shooter, right behind Titanfall.
Interesting.
Titanfall's just like I've actually like for me I've had this conversation. I've built Titanfall 2 as the perfect shooter.
Yeah, well,
Uh
I know that. It's just interesting that your top two games are
Oh, for
like
shooters, no, not yeah.
parkour, pretty high HP mechs, and hyper realism Vietnam.
Yeah, they
Those
are
are the
sort of on
two.
opposite ends of the spectrum there, I suppose. Yeah, Titanfall 2 is a cool game because it lets you just do neat stuff. It lets you kind of just do crazy uh hijinks that I think a lot of shooters typically don't let you do. Even newer Call of Duties and like the whatever one was the future one that had like double jumps and like sci-fi and stuff like
Hmm?
that. They were so limited by their
Oh yeah.
mechanics.
Well, and
And
map design too.
yeah, Titanfall 2 also isn't afraid of just like having these big open maps that
Well, you kind of need them when you have a mech portion of your game.
yeah.
They're kind of
Um
important.
yeah, and I feel like Titanfall 2 also had the detriment of not being particularly balanced with map design, but
Mm,
like it didn't care very much.
yeah.
Whereas everything in COD is so fine tuned that
Don't get
generally
out of here with that bullshit. COD map design for the last like 4 games has been absolute trash.
really.
Oh my god. There haven't been interesting maps in my opinion since Black Ops 1.
Well, that's kind of what I was trying to say is that they work so hard to like balance the maps and make everything so fine
Yeah,
tuned
the
that
balance is
like
the maps play like shit. Like
yeah, exactly. Like you end up I don't know, I'm talking about Call of Duty as though that's a video game that I play when I don't.
we can change that.
No, we can't. I don't know. I did not enjoy the last one I played. Whatever one I played with you.
Which one was that? Was that Modern Warfare?
Yeah. Yeah.
Modern Warfare, I really like the Ground War game mode, which was basically just like fucking Battlefield Conquest, but with
Hmm.
COD gunplay, which means it was basically just Battlefield 3, which is the best Battlefield game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that because I haven't been able to stand Battlefield since 4.
Uh,
So I haven't been able to play that feeling of gameplay since Battlefield 3 in like 2011,
yeah.
2012. So just being able to like jump into that with like really tight gameplay and big ass maps with tanks and shit. That was great. But yeah, the rest of the game, like the map design's pretty mediocre. None of them are really memorable, and Warzone's fine. I mean, okay, Warzone is the best battle royale I have ever played. Battle royale is a shit game type and does not deserve the popularity it currently has at all. It
Yeah,
is
people like it.
so boring.
People love it.
Drop, pick up gun, shoot some people, die eventually. Like it's not interesting. I'm sorry.
It's amazing the amount of people that are genuinely just kind of like, especially the amount of people that play video games that are just okay in gameplay loops that are that
Yeah,
sort of
it's really
productive just for
interesting to
an
me.
eternium.
And
They can just sit and play
I
that
say
sort
that
of a
as
thing.
someone that used to like for eternity just grind Call of Duty like matchmaking on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Um, but that feels so much more interesting to me than playing a battle royale for more than 30 hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yikes.
I just feel like you completely run out of new experiences, and like the best players don't even win that much.
The most fun I ever had with battle royale games was actually a stream that I used to watch called Awful Squad. I don't know if you ever watched that,
Mm-mm.
which was like Polygon's the video game company. Their PUBG stream that they would do, which was always pretty entertaining to watch. And
PUBG was very fun at first.
it is a fun game if you're playing with people you know,
Yeah,
because yeah, no, because it is very you're genuinely working as a squad.
yeah. Remember,
But
were you playing with us when we used to go to Watertown all the time?
yeah. It's a fun game if you aren't taking it seriously.
Yeah,
The moment you're playing it to win, it's a bad game
yeah.
because then you because then you care about sort of the mechanics
Right,
and
right.
it's I called. I why are we having a conversation about two games that I just could not be paid to care about?
That's bullshit. If I paid you, you'd care about these games.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess I'll talk about games that I do care about. I've been playing Stone Shard quite a bit more, which
Yeah.
is a good one. Stone Shard's kind of another roguelite.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
just all about them like low graphics roguelites that don't break your computer.
What's crazy is like for being a early access roguelite, with pixel graphics. The game is gorgeous. The soundtrack is gorgeous. Like the aesthetic and tone it's trying to capture, which is just you are a mercenary in low fantasy.
Yeah.
You're just a mercenary in a low fantasy village. And you go from the village to the wilds and kill some bandits and try and come back with like a sack of grain that they stole and make enough gold to buy some leeches to stick on your dick, or I don't know what people do in low fantasy settings. But yeah, like I like it quite a bit. It also apparently has an update now. Okay. So before I talk about that, it's a very brutal game in the sense that like even interacting with something like a zombie, which is kind of a typical level 0 mob in any other game,
Mm.
is is uh is genuinely upsetting. Like you can just get it.
You
You can
you
just
will
get
die.
gooched. Yeah, you will. So there is an update that adds like massive trolls and stuff, and I would love to see how the game interacts with that, because like I get killed by boars like pretty consistently.
You're
So
just
the
like
idea.
dying of dysentery on the way back to the town.
So yeah, I don't know what a situation would look like with a troll, but I would be interested to get far enough. Maybe later we can stream some Stone Shard.
Does it have multiplayer?
No, but you can commentate.
Yeah. Laugh at you. So
Uh
I want you to stream Spelunky too, because I just want to watch just the comedic deaths. Like it will be the funniest thing.
yeah, I played the original Spelunky quite a bit. So
Yeah, the new one seems really great. I've never played it, but I've watched a lot of people play it.
yeah, it seems pretty good.
Um, ooh, do you know what I need to play that I've been meaning to play for a long time, but it's actually out now?
Hmm.
Hades.
Hades is cool. My roommate was playing it last night, and I was watching, and it
The
seems.
art on that game is so fucking good.
Yeah, what's the name of the company that does Bastion and Transistor? I always forget.
I don't know
But
the
their
name.
games always look very good, and they play very tight, and the music is good, and from what I observed, it had all of the aesthetic that was cool about God of War. Actually, so I've heard some really cool things about this game.
Yeah,
I've heard that, like, first of all, it's incredibly horny, but it's also
that tracks.
kind of tasteful
Yeah, yeah.
in the way that it is a corny game. Which, if you're making a game entitled Hades, based around, I assume, that sort of mythos,
This is a pretty horny
inherently.
mythos, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, anytime that that's been tackled in the past in video games, it's been like the Assassin's Creed Odyssey games, which any sort of romantic or sexual subtext in those games was
Is
crawl out of my skin
is
bad.
this the segment where Tanner talks about how much they despise everything about Assassin's Creed?
I don't actually. I
Oh, have
like
you
it's
changed your mind? Remember when Ubisoft was the worst game company that currently existed for you?
so. But to be fair, 2014 to 2015, Ubisoft was the worst gaming company
Yeah, they were
on the
trash,
planet.
but I just there was a time where that was your thing, was just hating
I hated
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. Man, they were just pumping out bad game after bad game.
Well, and
But
lying about
anyways,
him. There was the whole like Watch Dogs downgrades and all that kind of shit. But
yeah,
carry on.
that would. Yeah, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey was a relatively good and interesting game because it
Uh,
broke the typical gameplay loop of what they did.
It was more than just go to high place, look around, follow someone,
No, so it's
stealth
still
mission. Oh,
that,
oh,
but
okay.
it was an RPG. So like
Got
you hit
and
people and numbers appeared above their heads,
gotcha,
which is apparently
gotcha.
what role playing games mean to Ubisoft. Uh,
Tracks.
it had kind of a weapon loot system like Borderlands, where swords would be dropped with levels and
Hmm.
features and stuff. I couldn't be
Was
bothered to
it
play it.
was that good though? So, to the side note, have you ever played the Darksiders games?
Yes.
So, I think the decision to add loot mechanics into
Uh huh.
Darksiders was one of the worst decisions they made about that series.
Interesting. Why is that?
Um, because the added, like, I guess gameplay loop of like just like sitting through and looking at all the items in my inventory to figure out which one is best was not engaging whatsoever, and I would much rather just have an upgrade tree like you did in the first Darksiders, which was a fucking incredible game.
Yeah, no, Darksiders one was really good. I enjoyed. I enjoy all the Darksider games, but I
Yeah,
can see where you're
I
coming
didn't
from.
like. Yeah, I don't want to say I hated Darksiders 2 because of it, but it just felt like unnecessary bloat to like sell the game.
Yeah,
Because like it is a hack and slash about like platforming and cool enemies and boss fights. I don't care about like whether or not this sword is 3 points more damage than my last sword. Like I don't care.
yeah.
Just let me find collectibles to upgrade myself in like maybe like give me some multiple trees instead of just like here's upgrades like that I can
Uh-huh.
see. But I absolutely no interest in fucking loot added to Darksiders.
No, that's fair and reasonable. I'm trying to think of how I got on this conversation topic. Yeah, okay, so like in a game that is based around Greek mythology, like it is going to be kind of sexual, but this game does it very well compared to like Odyssey, which is cringe, God of War, which is like any time that there was anything that had to do with sexuality in God of War, it was so bad.
Yeah, God of War is cringe in like the 80s movie way. Um Assassin's Creed is cringe in like the Redditor way.
It's just bad.
Yeah, like
It's
you can
it
enjoy the cringe when it's an 80s movie. Like you watch Die Hard and you're like this is fucking terrible, but it is glorious. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
bad, but like I'm having a good time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, whereas Odyssey and subsequent Assassin's Creed games with romance subplots end up feeling like character interactions between uh characters and Andromeda or some, I don't know. That's, I guess, too mean, but I don't know. Dragon Age 2. Yeah, so cool. New Dragon Age game. That'll be neat.
I have never played a Dragon Age game.
You would like the first one.
That's it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You haven't no. The second one is just bad. Like I think that's, as a society we universally agree.
We've moved past the need for Dragon Age 2.
We've passed- Dragon Age 2 is a neat testament to what humans can do under pressure. And I think that's about it. Dragon Age 2 is a neat testament to like what a game company can do when they're told to shit out a game or
Now,
perish.
Dragon Age was they're under the like boot of EA telling you to finish your game or die, right?
Yeah, that's as I recall essentially what happened. But
Yeah.
which is, so the first Dragon Age, a bit of backstory, was supposed to be a game set in the Forgotten Realms, which, if you don't know, is the Dungeons
D&D
and
world, right?
Dragons setting. Yeah, that Neverwinter Nights
How did
uses.
oh, so they just like licensed it out?
No, so it didn't happen. It
Hmm.
was supposed to be a continuing sort of follow-up to the Neverwinter games, and,
Mm.
they couldn't get the rights, and so they were like, "Oh, we'll just make our own game setting."
Ironic with WotC's current handling of their IPs, but
Yeah, it's because it's wild now. If you want anything, you can
so here,
make a Wizard
do you
Coast
want
anything.
do you wanna rant? Because I got a fucking rant ready for WotC right now.
Dude, they're the genuinely the worst company in.
So, when making a card game, would you consider it a bad idea to create product with like false scarcity by just like not printing very much of it or making it super limited, and then to put uh functionally unique cards that will never be reprinted into that product, so that if any of those cards ever become meta, you either had to have bought that product, which was incredibly limited, or pay heavily inflated secondary market prices because this incredibly limited product is now in high demand post market. Seems like a pretty bad design, right? Now,
Mhm.
imagine on top of doing pretty much the worst thing you can do in a trading card game, is like the cardinal sin of like bad design.
Uh-huh.
Imagine that product was a Walking Dead tie-in product where it's just Walking Dead characters being canonized basically by being legal cards to play.
I didn't hear about that.
So they've done tie-ins in the past. Like they did like a My Little Pony tie-in. They did a there's a Transformers tie-in. But what they did
Cool.
was they made these like silver bordered cards, which means they're not legal. Like in any
Yeah.
format, they're strictly for
Yeah.
casual play. And they've done
Yeah.
that kind of stuff before, where it's like, oh, this super like expensive limited thing where you can only buy at this place, and it's like, oh, a cool collectible thing if you enjoy this, and that kind of thing. So instead of doing it like that, they created a limited product like that with Walking Dead cards, except they're legal and you can play them.
So, isn't the Wizards of the Coast, especially the Magic the Gathering subset, at this point just make things legal with about the shelf life? Essentially, a card that's legal has a shelf life of when we find out it's broken, we remove it,
We're getting there now, yeah.
which is
But
awful.
yeah, oh
Which is
yeah,
an
it's
awful
it's
way
what
to.
it's what Konami used to do, which is why Yu-Gi-Oh was a garbage game, but Yu-Gi-Oh is literally the better card game right now.
Yeah, dude, Wizards of the Coast. It's wild because it's like being such a company that is just like whoring and grabbing for IPs as hard as they
Yeah,
can.
and they have the IP. Like they're like Blizzard when it comes to like we have the $1 billion IPs, and they're just like shitting the bed every time they can.
Yeah, I even on like the Dungeons and Dragons side of things, I mean they're a bit better about like putting out things that people want to put out, but also like I quit supporting them as a company. I don't
Same.
buy any of their stuff anymore. And if I there is something I'm curious about, I'll just torrent it. I'm
Yeah.
not giving them I will steal from them before I will give them another dime. Yeah,
Yeah.
I because there's just been a lot of like. So I mean, also there's the thing about hiring a known rapist and keeping them in the company as a not in the company, but
Ooh.
as a freelancer for the company, keeping their names in the books, everyone knowing that this dude did this, like the amount of like complaints at him, but then waiting until essentially the mobs came,
Yes.
and then they turned, and then they tried to pivot it as a like, oh, we removed him from the books, look at us.
You want to hear
It's like,
something?
you put him in the books, you
hmm
morons.
You want to hear something just as dumb, if not dumber, on the Magic side of things that they did this
Yeah,
year as well?
yeah.
Um, so around when a lot of the uh like Black Lives Matter stuff was like really popping off, and like a lot of like racism discussions were happening. Someone wrote a article about WotC and all sorts of problems with their artists and like company diversity and like hiring practices and all this stuff.
Was it just dropped into Google Drive, that article?
Yes.
I read
And
that, yeah.
at the end of the article, they, as a side note, call out some of the older, like, pretty insensitive, like, Magic cards, specifically one which was kind of yikes. And in response to this, WotC decided to go through any card that may be kind of problematic from the 90s, which was a problematic time, and literally erase them from existence, remove them from their databases, ban them in all formats, all this kind of stuff, which disrupts any formats that use these cards. Like, these cards were played and have effects. Like, so that's a problem for those formats.
Also, it's not acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah. And so they did all this in lieu of doing literally anything about their diversity problems at the company.
No.
They did absolutely nothing.
Wizards of the Coast is disgusting.
They were like, haha, well, we banned racist cards, guys, that weren't really racist, or like some of them were kind of bad, but we solved racism, everyone.
They are the genuine like company of like empty gestures to appear woke, while actively just like being transphobic, racist. What's wild is that like Wizards, like D&D, especially 5th edition, is written by 2 queer men. And is still just like all about burying your gays to the extent literally the extent of the gay character in Ravenloft is already dead. They're an undead.
We're talking about rainbow capitalism isn't enough to end bigotry. Absolutely, yeah. We're talking about how Wizards of the Coast is just a disgusting company that vaguely gestures at caring about issues while doing absolutely nothing to solve their constantly called out issues in like that actually happen in their company. They're like, oh, we removed this kind of problematic art from 20 years ago, but we're not actually fixing any of the problems in our company culture.
So here's a wild one for D&D that actually happened recently. This person released a 5th edition add-on that was essentially kind of like a playing a character in a wheelchair and how you would do that. It's basically like wheelchair combat and like having a really cool like wheelchair that could like just beat some ass. And
That's
of course everybody
pretty sweet, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's sick. Every dude bro was like, oh, that's not realistic. It's magic. Why wouldn't you just heal your legs? And it's like
my realism in Dungeons and Dragons,
the Forgotten Realms, where Elminster turns himself into a woman, goes to hell, fucks the devil, and then comes back. But anyways, okay, so that's not even the big thing. This is where my inherent issue is. One of the devs, I can't remember if it's Merles or Crawford, tweets out in approval of this. They're like, oh, this is like, they're like being woke. They're like, this is good. This is the, future of gaming or whatever they said. And it's like, first of all, you would never allow something like this into your books because you know your audience. Second of all, you by proxy and the way that you handle your IP make just as much money off of this book as the person that wrote it, which is insane since you didn't do any of the work. It's literally the way that the DMs Guild works, because I've sold stuff on it before. They take 70%. It's not only is it
70?
You didn't yes. Not only did you not do this in your book, and never would you, you are now profiting off of it, and then socially profiting off of it by tweeting like, go stick your dick in a garbage disposal. Like I'm so over it. It's like work at Wizards of the Coast and be a Mike Merles or Jeremy Crawford, but shut the fuck up about like being woke. Just be the huge piece of shit you are.
So
sorry, I'm done.
No, you're fine. A quick funny story before we wrap up. So I'm friends with a lot of like magic artists because I that's one of the biggest things I cared about when I played lots of Magic. So they would go to events. I would meet them, talk to them, hang out with them. So I have all these like Magic artists on my Facebook, and I have the original art designer for Magic the Gathering from like 1994, 90, or 93. Um, and he is the most like anti Wizards of the Coast person I've ever seen. If you ever go on like any of like the Magic ads on Facebook, he's like in the comments section shitting on the company.
Yeah,
It's incredible. And the other really cool thing about him is he's the one and going tying back to how they handled these like racist cards from back then and knowing this guy who is incredibly anti-racist, he's the guy that approved all of this stuff back then.
uh-huh.
And is just like, no, here's what it fucking is. Like
Yeah. This is what it was like when these things were being made and what they were supposed to be.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, they're a bad company. Don't give them any of your money.
Yep.
If you're gonna play Dungeons and Dragons, which is fine. I don't like judge people. I had a D&D stream for a while. I didn't want to change purely because it had just gone on for so long, and because we were all were kind of queer and doing our own thing. It was whatever. Like, if you're gonna play, that's fine, but just like don't give them your money. Like, if you're gonna play their game, at the very least steal it, and it's easy to do. Just look around online. But yeah, as Wizard Bread Book said, there are just so many tabletop RPGs worth playing. There are a million. Go on to uh man, buying from Drive Through RPG also blows. Buy straight from the creators if you can. Yeah, just look up stuff. Look up the Powered by the Apocalypse hack. Make a Powered by the Apocalypse hack. That's what seems to be what everybody does. Like,
Also, check out Xenikin.
oh yeah,
While you're here, plug your own damn tabletop RPG, you idiot.
So I actually I used to run a Stars Without Numbers stream. I love it. I'm actually thinking about doing some of my Stars Without Numbers prep as a stream tonight. I play that, but yeah, I guess plugging my stuff. I have two things in the pipe that I'm gonna release pretty quick. A Xenikin podcast, which Brian, you're a part of. That'll be Xenikin is a JRPG setting world that is reminiscent of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. And then the second thing is a game that I made in reaction to how I was feeling as someone that was deeply in love with Harry Potter growing up and everything that happened, and the giant knife that J.K. Rowling has left in my back, which is essentially a Wizard Academy game. It's a slice of life RPG about being like 14 to 15-year-old students at a Wizard Academy and learning things and creating spells and stuff. And it's obviously not for turfs. So it's just a game that I'm actually kind of excited about.
It explicitly says that if you don't like trans people, don't play this fucking game.
Yeah, no, it says that's the first page, and also like J.K. Rowling has done like devastated anything that is tried to be a Harry Potter tabletop RPG, because you know that Harry Potter IP is under complete protection.
Yep.
So uh the amount of like RPGs that have just been blown out of the water because they talked about Mr. Harry and his Potter, uh like so this is not that. This is in my own setting called Redlands, and if you want a slice of life about a magical academy, then yeah, look for that pretty soon.
Oh yeah. Hey, do I have anything to plug? Not really. Other than this show, which we're trying to do every morning around 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Subject to slight variations depending on our schedules.
Yeah, so if this is just a show about fixing your sleep schedule for the two of us, something to get us out of bed and get the day going.
Pretty
But
much.
that seems like a
About,
good enough place to leave it as any.
yeah. Yep. About whatever we want to talk about and whatever happened and is happening, pretty much.
Do you want to play us out? I mean, are you gonna?
Yeah,
Can you play us out
I can
with some
play us
music?
out. I can play us out. Well, anyways, thanks anyone that's tuned in. We'll be back tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter. Our handles are right below us this entire time. And yeah, have a wonderful day, everyone, and bye.
Dismantle horny people.
Dismantle horny people.